I apologize for the messy bench here. Got quite a bit of clutter. But this is the Reptile Sky Shadow s800. Dun, dun, dun. It is bad to the bone. You have a video transmitter, the servo for the left aileron, little cutie motor, another servo for the right aileron. This is pretty clever. This is the antenna for the receiver, but I built this out of a popsicle stick. So one antenna goes up and the other one goes out. They need to be at 90-degree vertical and horizontal. So I took a popsicle stick, hot glued it in there, and then ran the antenna up and did some shrink wrap. And I know it probably looks ugly to the untrained eye, but all these pieces of tape serve a purpose. It's reinforced packing tape, so this is fiberglass reinforced packing tape. And if you hit a tree or something, this is going to keep it from cracking. And you'd be amazed at how stiff this foam is. I mean, I'm pinching that as hard as I can and couldn't even put a dent in it. That's how stiff it is. But when I put it together, so basically I had to glue the winglets on, glue in the servos, fix the receiver in, fix the video transmitter in, and adjust all the linkages, install the servo horn. So anyway, back to the tape. This on the leading edges will prevent it from getting damaged too badly in a crash, but it also is remarkably strong. These are seams right here that it came in 3 pieces, and they're hot glued and contact cemented together with this stuff called goop glue. It's really strong, but the reinforcing tape also really holds it together. And the hinges are just foam, where they just weakened the foam to make the hinge for the control surfaces, but sometimes they make them too weak. So just as a safety precaution, you put the fiberglass tape on to prevent them from falling off or breaking off over time. Let's see. So in the front, as I was telling you, it has a GoPro, and then this one is the FP. Look at that Dylan hair on it. It might be strands of hot glue, who knows. So that's the FPV camera. Take the lens cap off. That's the FPV camera that you will see. That image will come through your video goggles. Put the cap back on. So on the underside, that's kind of a glare. There we go. So on the underside, it comes with, this is pretty rare, so I don't know, you can probably, maybe you can see these screws, but this is a pretty rare feature where normally what they have you do is just cut out the foam, and there's the underside of the popsicle stick, by the way, but they normally just have you cut out the foam for your receiver and video transmitter and glue it in. But this model is pretty sweet. It actually came with pre-cut, they weren't the right size exactly, so I did modify, but pre-cut holes, and then these screws fit into brass inserts that are glued into the foam. So then this carbon fiber plate goes over the top to keep everything safe, and it's slotted so it has cooling as well. Another neat thing on the bottom, this is a carbon fiber reinforcing rod, and it's got one on each wing by the leading edge and also in each control surface that goes all the way across. Because here's your control horn. So this is where it's pushing it up and down. So the carbon fiber rod helps it get all the way to the edge. This is where the controller is that controls the speed of the motor, electronic speed controller. It's under this one. And then under this one is the video transmitter. which will send the video about 1.5 miles. And all these wires I cut into the foam and then buried. You can kind of see one of them here. It's all buried inside the foam, and then use the reinforcing tape. And this bump here correlates to this bump over here, and there's a carbon fiber rod that goes through. And then the same with this bump, goes all the way across. I don't know, I can't see where it ends. I think it ends right about there to that bump. So it has 2 carbon fiber rods inside it to stiffen it up. And this thing is really, really strong. It definitely won't flex in the air. The interesting part, now it's going to look like a real mess, but just realized this is a 5-minute video, 6-minute video. The interesting part is under the hood here, if I can get it off. Okay, so first thing, it attaches with magnets, neodymium magnets that are super strong. I did have to carve this piece of the canopy out just to make room for the battery connection right here. But all this needed to be soldered up. So here's your wires coming in from the wings and the video transmitter and stuff. And all this had to be soldered up. The power, the flight controller, underneath this flight controller helps it stay stable in flight. Like if it gets pushed by wind, it helps control that. But all this had to be soldered. This is it's called a LC, line control filter. So what that does is it takes the power off the board, puts it in, comes in here, filters it, takes out all the nasty interference out of the power, and then powers the video camera and the transmitter so you don't get nasty interference. The only thing I don't like is the way the battery connection is. There's no real good place to put it. It's pretty snug in there. So that was the best place I could put it, but the canopy wouldn't close totally. So that's why I had to carve that out. But when it's back on, I'm going to shove these back in here. Put the canopy back on. Get on there, sucker. And those magnets stick really well. You may not be able to see it, but you can probably hear it. Maybe if I do it like this. As I move the plane, so you can see the control surface moving. I'm not doing that with the remote. That flight controller is doing it. So I'm shaking the plane, simulating like it got pushed by wind or something. And this motor, let's see if I can do this real quick. Whoa! Oops. I forgot the remote was on. So, anyway. I'm going to try to figure this out. I don't think I can show you without... I don't have enough hands. Anyway, this motor is... It's tiny, but it's powerful. This thing's going to probably go 70 miles an hour, maybe a little more. And if I get a different propeller, it'll definitely do 80. Anyway, thank you for my Christmas present. Love it. Bye.